investing from your 20s. If you are in your 20s, it is a time to celebrate, right? Why I am telling that? Number one is this: you are in the best phase of growth, right? The next 10 years is going to be the greatest time which we have ever experienced. India as a country is going to grow multifold. We are going to watch the best of the best unfolding. So obviously there is a lot of growth to be experienced, leveraged, and being in your 20s, can you be part of this great growth experience? And it is relatively much easier for you, primarily because the age is there in your favor, right? Because when it comes to investment, age has a huge influence on how much wealth possibly you can create in your life. And if the goal is financial freedom, which is a must for each and every one of us, though less than 10 percentage actually even think of or going close to financial freedom, and less than 2 percentage actually achieve it in their lifetime, right? If you consider these statistics, if you can think of financial freedom at the age of 20, it's the best thing which can ever happen in your life. And this is one reason why I always advocate very strongly our schools, our colleges must impart financial knowledge to the students. Financial knowledge, I don't mean all these financial subjects. I mean how to reach financial freedom in life, right? So that is something so important. So for this particular discussion, I'm going to have in the context, there are 50 years in front of you, right? Assuming the life expectancy is about, average life expectancy is about 70 years. If you are in your 20s, you have like 70 years there in front of you, right? And assuming you are starting your life, you are stepping out of your college, you started earning some money, right? I mean, that's how typically anybody starts. Not a huge money, but definitely something sizable. What you can possibly call as a beginner level earning. It's something what you are actually started earning, right? From there, how to reach your financial freedom, right? What is the first step you will do? Mostly what we do is this, because there is a shift in the mindset. Till that time, somebody else was supporting you, maybe possibly your parents were giving you all the money, pocket money, and then you were spending it. Suddenly you started getting complete control on money. You start feeling more control, and then it directly comes into your account. So normally what happens is the spending pattern completely changes. So most of the working professionals get into the trap of spending more than what is required at this point of time. Reason being, they don't have the family, only the parents. So you buy some gifts to your parents, they'll be more than happy, right? And other remaining money primarily goes into maybe a more bigger mobile phones or a trip along with friends, right? Maybe exotic food in a very frequent interval. So these are all the ways in which the money is being spent, and that becomes an habit before even you get into your family kind of thing. You get married, you have children, and then to meet that increased requirement, though there will be a growth in your salary, in your professional life, all those things, you start getting into the EMI trap, right? I mean, banks are going to be behind you to ensure you start somewhere with them. You may have to get your first bike loan, you may have to first get your car loan, or then home loan, or one of those things, and then you get into it, and the moment you get into it, and then it becomes a habit, right? So you keep paying your EMI. So whatever be the salaries which increases, it's not going to make much of sense. So never, even in your 40, you have like bigger loans to meet. This is exactly how the life goes, and little or no efforts has been put in with respect to the financial knowledge or the wealth vidya, right? So instead, how you should start your life, this video is all about that, right? As you start earning, the first, I'm definitely with you. There are a lot of emotional things. You want to buy some small gifts to your parents, go ahead, do it. I appreciate it, right? That is something traditionally what Indian family do, right? In Indian families, we do. That's good, right? And you get a lot of blessings, but that's something a very small amount, right? So apart from it, the very basic step or the first check what you should write is your term insurance. What do you mean by that? You also check my other video on insurance, types of insurance, what you should do, all those things. But quickly, I'll touch upon what a term insurance is all about. In your absence, if you are not alive, the money what your family will get, that is what is term insurance, right? And if you take it at the very early age, your premiums for it is like very low. Correct. And how to decide how much term insurance you should take? It can be approximately 30 times your annual salary. Say, for example, if it is like 3 lakhs, right? 30 times is about 90 lakhs. So you can go in for a 1 crore term insurance, right? And if you take it in your early 20s, for a year itself, you may pay only like 7 or 8,000 for 1 year, right? But if you take later point of time in your life, you may have to pay like 4,000, 5,000 per month. It's almost like 10 times more, correct? So that should be the very first thing what you do. And number 2 is your medical insurance, correct? Medical insurance is not only for you, maybe possibly you may have to take it along with your parents. And once you do that, say assuming you get married, you need to ensure your spouse is included in that. And then as you get children, you need to ensure your children are included in that. And before pandemic, the perception of medical insurance was different. Right now it is actually different. So you have to have a higher cover to say treat somebody in hospital, in a decent hospital, for at least like 15 days kind of time. So that can be a rough calculation. So at this point of time, say when I'm actually doing almost when the wave 2 of the pandemic is settling down in the month of June 2021, maybe I will recommend close to about 8 lakhs kind of thing for a family of 4, right? Should be, it's just a rough number, but you do your little bit of math, you understand more about it, and then do it. But this is something a must. You can't negotiate on these two at any point of time, right? They are not something good to have. It's not a luxury. It's the must, right? And then you have to be watchful here after this, because the moment you know you have your PAN card, your salaries are getting credited, the bank which offers you the bank account, they know what's happening, right? So they have a team of people who access your spending behavior. They understand how you spend. So obviously they have to sell their product, right? You will start getting calls from them because you are in the database. They know how you spend. There are even going to be like the next level is going to be artificial intelligence working to understand your mindset, right? Are you a person who loves food? Are you a person who likes travel, right? Are you somebody who will get attracted with newer gadgets, right? All those things can be easily tracked just with your card usage, your bills, all those things is going to happen. So they may even have, right now we don't have that kind of advancement in country like India, but it's not very far, right? Where they may even have call centers specific to those guys who love gadgets, those guys who love travel, right? Your offers will all be on travel. I mean, you will get carried away by that, and then you will start spending on it. You will, you check there is not enough money in your bank account. Obviously, it will be followed up with a credit card. So you start spending the bank money, and then you become liable to that. End of it, bank's job is to make you liable to them, right? And as you become liable to them, you some point of time start paying the interest to them, right? That's a whole game of getting into the EMI trap. So if you check, possibly the loans which are allowed, if you have taken an education loan, that's fine, and I assume it should be in your name. So go ahead, ensure it is met meticulously. Relatively, the interest rates are lower, so it is fine. Apart from it, because I'm talking about an Indian context, a loan for the home where you will be staying or where you're planning to stay possibly makes sense, right? Because one, it is a capital item, so the investment required is huge, and number two, relatively the interest rates are lower. That has the lowest interest rate. Say for example, right now you get even at 6.5 percentage kind of thing, maybe less than 10 percentage. Definitely you will be able to get a home loan even for next several years, right? So home loan is something okay, because it's also an emotional thing that tells a lot of things about your growth to others, your family. I mean, it's a lot of things connected. So that is okay. Apart from it, any kind of loan is a no. Get this very clear, right? Any kind of loan, be it your vehicle loan, your travel loan, your personal loan. I mean, they name it in different ways. It's all unsecured loans. That's it. The moment you start taking unsecured loans, your financial dreams will get shattered. That's the truth, right? Big or small, it's a habit, it's a pattern. And the biggest challenge for the bank sales team is to break this habit of people, right? So be strong and always understand, people who are rich are frugal, millionaires are frugal, right? That's a very, very important mindset. They are not stingy. It's very, very big difference between frugal and stingy. So before you spending anything, check to yourself, ask yourself, is this something very, very important? Should I have to do it? And do your best to get an answer as no, right? Because I'm talking about when you are 20s, that is when you start getting some money to save, because you have the leverage of lesser tax. Say, assuming you earn like 4 lakhs in a year or 5 lakhs in a year, then you have that advantage of being in the lowest tax bracket, so which means you can possibly save it, right? So leverage that. And other biggest one is going to be your time, and then you don't have a lot of additional things around you. Maybe you don't have the school fee, you don't have functions, your parents taking care of a lot of things, right? I mean, you don't have much to, assuming by chance if you stay along with your parents, then you have all the reasons to figure out how to invest, right? So that you be little careful at this stage, you can achieve financial freedom much, much rapidly for most of the people. And financial freedom is the greatest gift what you can actually give it to yourself and to your family, right? I mean, it's unbelievable gift where you don't have to be bothered about your financials, and you don't have to be bothered about any of your money requirements. It's the best place to be in, right? So moving on, these are all the strategies, mindsets, some basics, right? And if you check from here, you need to understand the cash flows. How the rich handle the cash flow. Rich, what I mean is a rich mindset, right? The millionaires mindset. How they handle the cash. For them, as the money comes in, it's not expenses first. It is savings first. You first have to save. Say you earn 100, you have some amount towards your saving. Maybe you are young, I will say like 40%, or if you are staying along with your parents, I will say 60%, 70 percentage goes towards your saving, and balance goes towards whatever expenses you may have, right? Your other commitments. So assuming somewhere between 30 to 60 percentage, depending on your background kind of thing, the amount first goes towards your savings, investments, and then your expenses. Okay? So which means you earn 100, you keep away your 60 for your savings. What you have in your hand is only 40. That's a mindset what you should have, right? So that's going to, I mean, literally change a lot of things for you. You have to plan around that, right? And, maybe you will find a lot of clarity on what you are supposed to do and how you are supposed to do, right? And as you get that amount for saving, what you should do with that, where you should invest, this is where a lot of things changes. This is where I strongly feel every student must be imparted the knowledge of compounding, the power of compounding. Once you compound the money, what happens? Compounding means you earn interest on interest, interest on interest over a long period of time. And like what Einstein says, the eighth wonder of the world is actually compounding, right? I mean, compounding will blow your mind off. Okay? Say again, there are a lot of online compound interest table. It's not something too tough for you to figure out what it is, how it is, and all those stuff. Correct? Compounding works this way. You will be having some initial amount in hand. I mean, I'm taking as low as 10,000, 1 lakh, depending on where you start with, or by chance, if you're smart enough, you have saved some money, whatever your parents have given when you were young, and all those things you accumulated that to a lakh, brilliant, right? So, assuming you're starting with a lakh, right? And per month, you are putting away, say, some 10,000 rupees, correct? And at that interest of whatever the investment what you are putting in, say assuming it's gaining like 12%, and how to get that 12%, that's something what we have to explore, what you have to understand. Watch all my videos. There are mutual funds, there are stocks, there are ways in which you can actually earn that 12%. Assuming that you earn 12%, but 12% is not 12%. Why? Because there is an inflation which works against it. 12% minus your inflation, right? Actually, to start with the first year, it earns only like 7%. So to beat the inflation, what we do is every year, instead of putting the 10,000 every month, you keep slightly increasing it by 5%. Or once in a year, you increase it by 5%, which is actually doable, right? Say instead of, which means in the second year it becomes, instead of 10,000 it becomes 10,500, right? It's no way it's going to pinch you, right? So which helps you to beat the inflation, because I'm assuming inflation as 5%. And if you do it, if you continue to do it for the next 50 years till your age of 70, I mean, I'm talking about 10,000 to start with. You put 10,000 month on month, and you do it for next 70 years. I mean, putting 10,000 month on month, when you are in your 20s, it may look bigger. Say, assuming in your 30s, assuming you are growing in your career, everything, it may not mean anything. In your 40s, you yourself will feel this is too small, right? With the inflation happening, you may be paying 10,000 for your helper at home, right? So, or even higher, right? So I'm just giving you a comparison. Your utilities bill may be much higher than 10,000, right? All those things are going to happen. So again, 10,000 is not something sizable, but still, I'm taking these parameters to figure out what will happen to the money what you invest. You want to know what it is? Fine. Definitely yes. I will share with you how it is going to happen. So just I'm randomly choosing some site. You can choose the same. I saw this very nicely designed. It is thecalculatorsite.com, right? I'm choosing currency as rupees, and I'm starting the initial deposit as 10,000, and the interest rate is 12%, right? Which is yearly, because normally it's compounds yearly, and you keep it for 50 years, and compound interval is 1 year, and every year, right, your regular contribution per month, I'm keeping it as 10,000, right? Okay, and deposits made at in what point of the month? Okay, you keep it as end of the month, and annual inflation rate is 5%, which means you are increasing your investments by 5% every year, and then you are going to calculate, and as you calculate the number, what you see is 5 crores. 5 crores, right? My only disappointment today is how many kids knows this, how many parents know this, and for lifetime people work so hard to earn this 15,000, 20,000 every month. So you do this consistently, it becomes like 5 crores, and I've taken like very small money, 10,000 per month kind of thing. As you move on, you can even double your investments per month kind of thing. You can play around with the calculator, but that's what it is. And then think of where you will be in life. So one thing what you have to do, dear friend, is about being financially aware. In your 20s, if you are in your 20s, you better start today. I mean, it's must.